An update now on the situation with the flooding in Australia. Police have ordered the evacuation of part of the country's third largest city, Brisbane, as floodwaters surge towards it. Lower-lying suburbs have already been inundated and rivers are expected to peak up to 19 metres above their normal level. The areas around the Brisbane River are also expected to see more flooding. At least 11 people were killed and more than 70 are missing following the flash flooding that we talked about so much yesterday around the nearby town of Toowoomba.
The worst flooding in Queensland's history is now threatening the capital of the state. Brisbane takes its name from the river that normally snakes through it, but that will soon be covering many of its lower-lying suburbs. The city is now expecting flooding worse than it experienced in 1974. A year that still haunts the people who live here. The fear is that more than 6,000 homes could be partially or completely flooded.
I haven't been here long, so I don't know where higher ground is, but I'll go try and find it.
Further upstream, the town of Toowoomba, which has witnessed the most violent and deadly flash flooding since the crisis began. Locals spoke of a terrifying inland tsunami with the power to wash away cars and vans and to pull people from their homes. Police said a woman and child had died in the town when their car was washed away. A man and boy died after being swept from their house. At least 2 children are amongst the dead.
The nation does need to brace itself for the fact that the death toll as a result of yesterday's flash flooding and walls of water is likely to rise.
A complete freak of nature, a deluge that almost came out of nowhere, is how officials are describing it.
This weather, I think, is it might be breaking our hearts at the moment, but it will not break our will. What we have out there on the front line are some of the best trained people in Australia, and they are going to protect these communities, and we are going to make sure that we keep everybody that we can as safe as humanly possible.
This is the small community of Grantham, where local residents have been completely stranded. Heavy rain has lashed this part of southeast Queensland for over 36 hours, with 16 centimetres falling in 1 hour alone. Most of the rainfall hit an already saturated catchment. Nick Bryant, BBC News, Sydney.
Well, joining me now on the phone is Arthur Penlington, who's a Briton who lives in Queensland. Thanks very much for joining us. Give us a sense, first of all, if you can, of the geography, because I know you're speaking to us from a town called Noosa, and for Britons who don't know the area, give us a sense of where that is in relation to Brisbane.
Yes, hi Jane. Noosa is about an hour north of Brisbane on the Sunshine Coast. It's a seaside resort, very popular for people who come up from Brisbane. At the moment, one thing I should tell you, I just heard your latest details. It's just been confirmed over here that the death toll has now risen to 10 here. The latest victim, unfortunately, is a 4-year-old boy. He was killed when he was being moved in a boat to safe ground, but tragically fell into the water. So it's now confirmed that there are 10 people who've died. And
in Noosa itself, what are you being told? Are you getting warnings? What's the situation exactly where you are?
Where we are is comparatively fine compared to what lies ahead for the residents of Brisbane and Ipswich. But to give you some sense of it, it's pretty much been raining here for 3 weeks, and most of the rain is no longer clearing. So any new downfalls of rain just have nowhere to run. I was out 3 hours ago, and in the space of an hour, 60 millimetres of rain fell. The roads in Noosa became impassable in some places, and there is a river, Noosa River, which runs through the town here, which is due to reach high tide in several hours. There's a lot of rainwater coming down from the hinterland. The council in Noosa have opened an emergency centre for anybody who should need it. But at the moment, hopefully that's not required. Noosa's biggest issue is that the main north-south motorway for the east coast of Australia is cut about 30 minutes north of us and about 40 minutes south of us because of the rising flood rivers.
We talk about people in some of the suburbs of Brisbane already being told to get out, and yet you talk about that main arterial road being pretty much shut. Where are people going? I mean, are we talking about airlifting people?
No, the residents in Brisbane would be able to leave the city going south. They wouldn't be able to leave going north, and they wouldn't be able to leave going inland either. But for those residents who are leaving the suburbs, the latest forecast here is up to 10,000 homes in Brisbane will be flooded by the end of Thursday. Evacuation centres have been set up. At the moment, very few people have arrived in those because they have effectively a day and a half's worth of warning. But I do know the main evacuation centre in Ipswich, which is further upriver, already has 300 to 400 people staying there. But for those residents who do need to leave, there are emergency centres being set up.
All right, well, all the very best. Many thanks for joining us. Arthur Pennington there, speaking to us from the town of Noosa, which is about an hour or so from Brisbane.